Persian Gulf War began with a massive U.S.-led air offensive known as the Operation Desert Storm. After 42 days of relentless attacks by the Allied coalition in the air and on the ground, the U.S. President George H.W. Bush declared a ceasefire on February 28th. By that time, most Iraqi forces in Kuwait had either surrendered or fled. Though the Persian Gulf War was initially considered as an unqualified success for the international coalition, simmering conflict in the troubled region that led to the Second Gulf War, known as the Iraqi War, that began in 2003. The war in Afghanistan was launched in response to the 9/11 attacks. The purpose of the war was to capture bin Laden and remove the Taliban. Considering the lack of result of the justification of the war has evolved to a mission of democratization and development that is going nowhere. The Western forces face a growing insurgency and endless war. The Taliban are a group of terrorists that are most prominent in the south. They also have a strong presence in the east. The title of the Patriotic Act is a 10-letter word that stands for uniting and strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstructive terrorism in Act 2001. The Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, is responsible for ensuring the safety and security of the United States from terrorist attacks and other disasters. Created in the aftermath of September 11th, or also known as 9/11, terrorist attacks, DHS has largely focused on federal preparations to deal with terrorism while trying to manage other duties, including border security, custom and emergencies management. The department's fixation on terrorism has resulted in considerable controversy and criticism, including association of violent civil liberties. Gun controls are laws of policies that regulate the manufacture, sale, transfer, possession, modification, or use of a firearm. They are vary greatly around the world. Some countries, such as the United Kingdom, have very strict limits on guns possessions, while others, like the United States, have compared to most industrial democracies related to view a weak restriction. The NFTA, a regulation implemented January 1st, 1994, in Mexico, Canada, and the United States to eliminate most tariffs on trade between these nations. The three countries phased out numerous tariffs with a particular focus on those related to agricultural, textiles, and automobiles. Between the arguments, implementation, and January 1st, 2008, NFTA's purpose to encourage economic activity between the United States, Mexico, and Canada. The World Trade Organization, WTO, is the only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between the nations. At its heart are the WTO agreements negotiated and signed by the bulk of the world's trading nations and ratified in their parliaments. The goal is to help producers of goods and services, exporters and importers conduct their business. The early 2000s recession was a decline in economic activity, which mainly occurred in developed countries. The recession affected the European Union during 2000 and 2001, and it affected the United States in 2002 and 2003. The UK, Canada, and Australia avoided the recession, while Russia, a nation that did not experience prosperity during the 1990s, in fact began to recover from the situation. The Occupy movement is an international protest movement against the social and economic inequality. Its primary goal began to make the economic and political relations in all societies less vertically degraded and more flatly distributed. On March 3rd, 1991, Rodney King is beaten by LAPD officers after a high-speed chase through Los Angeles County. George Holliday videotapes the beating from his apartment balcony. Michael Joseph Jackson, born on August 29th, 1958, and died on June 25th, 2009. He was an American singer, songwriter, actor, musician, dancer, and businessman. NASA's Space Shuttle fleet began setting records with its first launch on April 12, 1981, and continued to set high marks in achievements and endurance through 30 years of missions, including Neil Armstrong being the first man on the moon. Barack Obama II, born on August 4th, 1961. He is the 44th president and still the current president of the United States. He is the first African American president. The 27th Amendment is unique in that it took nearly 200 years since it was proposed to actually be ratified by the states. The 27th Amendment deals with pay raises or decreases for members of Congress. Changes to congressional pay must take effect after the next term of office for the representatives. This means that another election would have had to occur before the pay raises can take effect. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for watching.